Mic check, waifu, waifu.
Mic check, waifu. Man, tell him. Is that you?
It is me, and we here for a review.
This is episode 306 of Mic Check Waifu. As always, it's brought to you by Patreon. Patreon.com/Mic Check Waifu is where you can get early access to the video version of this podcast. Is where you can get access to the Patreon exclusive podcast, The After Story, and we can also get access to the pre-shows. This week only, we dropped 306 pre-show 2 days before this episode go live, but for free for everybody. So if you ever are curious about our Patreon, just go to patreon.com/Mic Check Waifu and watch the pre-show to 306, because what that covers is our Fire Force Season 3 wrap thoughts. It turned out to be a great pre-show. We ended up getting into some anime discussion that we would normally have on this show, but decided to have it there because we have a packed show for you this week. I digress. Shout out to the Patreon producers. Dad Needs to Talk podcast. Make sure you check out Dad Needs to Talk podcast. Christian, the archivist. Shout out to Christian, the archivist. Fear, Kent the Pro from Chaotic Culture podcast. Check out Chaotic Culture podcast. Explicitly, all for one Matt, Matthew H, Monique Williams, Simi Sissay, Frozen, Rob Stone, and last but never not least, our guy, the T Money fingers. This episode is a very special episode because this is a partial wrap of the spring season as we dive into the fall. I'll just skip summer. While we dive into the summer season, which is coming up here shortly. We'll still have quite a bit of time before the summer show's released, but we are going to discuss the end of spring these next couple of weeks as we get excited for the summer season. As we start off every episode, Tail, what was your episode of the week this week?
Hey, I was singing the song before we got here, but it was To Be Hero X, and hear me out.
Yes, sir.
It definitely fulfilled a bit of the meathead in me, but it me also too. Is just absolutely stunningly beautiful. It has, for this season, we kind of talked about this with Fire Force a little bit. For this season, this has to be one of the best animated and best sounding anime right now. And it's crazy. And
if so, I think if you would allow me to speak for you when it comes to Be Hero X, I think what Tell is saying when he says is beautiful. He's not just talking about the animation, because yes, that is beautiful, but also the way the story is presented and the fucking convergence of the plot lines within this particular episode was so beautifully woven. And not just beautiful, but just that convergence alone in the storytelling within this fucking show is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. It's some of the best ever, to be fair. And I just had to speak on that real quick. But
you spitting, bro.
My episode of the week this week. You know what? I'm going far left, Till. You ready for my far left take here?
Let's do it.
My episode of the week this week, and maybe it's not that far left here, because I want to pick two now, but I can't pick two.
Let me hear what the second one is.
The second one would be WindBreaker.
Okay, that's great.
That's not far off. The WindBreaker, let me just speak on WindBreaker for 2 seconds since you gave me permission. WindBreaker season 2, the way it ended, being like virtually the way it started, like talking about the way it started, is another tremendous plot storytelling piece and character building device, which this show excels at 110%. 10 out of 10 episode.
100% they cook every time, man.
But for my episode of the week that's kind of out there, unhinged, if you will, I'm an evil lord of a galactic empire is my episode of the week this week. The reason why, and this is the one with the mechs in it, that very few, mech scenes in it, but the reason why is because there was a particular moment within this show that showcased the character of the main character, his character. And again, I love strong character pieces, hence the theme of this episode, and of something that we're probably going to talk about here shortly too, before we get into the wrap of the spring season. But the character of that character is wonderful, and everything that he stands for, and a moment that happened between him and his assistant, if you will. I'm not going to talk about it just in case people didn't get to finish it yet, but I enjoyed this series. It was easy to turn on. It wasn't spectacular. It wasn't spectacular at all. I wouldn't even say I would recommend it. I would say it's a good show to turn on, easy to watch, and it was a good time. So I guess that's one of the shows that I feel like we wasn't going to give credit for in this conversation at the wrap up. But I think it deserves an episode of the week, at least just this 1 week. Just this 1 week.
I'm very happy you brought it up. I didn't complete it.
Okay.
I'm going to, though.
It's worth
it. Is on my list for the things that I'm going to get to wrap up, since we have a little bit of break before the summer season officially starts. But I'm happy you did, because it gives me some excitement for it. Mm-hmm. So yes. And for Polow also, y'all know Polow does not like mechs.
I hate mechs. But it's like it's so minimal.
Yeah, but the character had to be strong. I feel like all mech anime that Polow enjoys, they have strong characters.
Yeah. And again, this isn't a great show, but
and side tangent, just let me say this real quick. Can I see your waves? Can I see your waves through?
No, hell no. This is just the silk inside. I got a fro under here.
I was about to say, brother, you wolf and you got waves underneath that.
No, this is
it looks like waves.
It definitely
that's my side tangent. My bad.
Good side tangent. Okay, but real quick, before we get into the show proper, and then I also failed to mention this. We do have a review later in this episode for Two Perfect Saint. I can't wait to review that. We're reviewing that. I don't know if I'm gonna do a song break this week, but it'll be in the second half of the show. You'll know when that's coming. Can't wait to talk about that review. And shout out to TCB for giving us his review of that show. So we're going to share that with you here in this episode. But before we get into that, I do want to say this. So last week I talked about how I was going to rewatch the Dreaming of series, which is the Rascal is Dreaming of a Bunny Girl series. And then there's 3 movies on top of that. I said that I was going to watch that. And the moment I said that, the next day, which is a Monday, which is before this episode even goes live, I started, or last week's episode went live. I started the series and finished the entire series within a day and a half, like a little less than a day and a half. And then I also finished the 3 movies. So all within those 3 days or 2 days before the podcast episode even went live, I finished, the Rascal Does Not Dream Of series. And I got an announcement to make. After finishing that first season, because I watched that before the podcast, that first season cemented itself into my top 10.
Yeah.
This series is fucking spectacular. It's one of the best series I think I've ever watched, for reasons that it's so hard to explain, because the show is so me. I would even stress it to say that it's us, because of the topics it covers, because of the character that is the main character, because of the characters that are the side characters. It is such a brilliant fucking show. And in the 3 movies, oh my God, the way the 3 movies just cover more. Instead of doing a second season, they take 3 plot lines and put it into movie form, and it's a continuation on one on top of each other, like Demon Slayer's doing, which I'm all for, by the way. I absolutely loved it. I fucking loved this series so much. It knocked out Asher Lost in Space and ended up in my top 10 series of all time, for sure. And I think it's because of the name of this, Rascal Does Not Dream of a Bunny Girl Senpai. This doesn't get a lot of love, and it does. It gets a very cult-like following, but it's only a small few. You know what I'm saying? A small group of people that would always talk about, you will always hear the outro to this series on TikTok or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just one of those series that had that cult-like following, but it is worth every fucking minute of every second of every hour that I watched of this show. I loved it so much.
So this was on my list to watch. I've been told to watch it, been asked to watch it. It was on my Annie list as I'm going to watch it. It was on my Crunchyroll watch list already. Just never started it. And I'm gonna be real. It has 100% to do with the way that it looked. I'm like, I don't really.
Exactly.
I don't know when I'm gonna turn. I don't know when I'm gonna turn this on.
I thought that the first time I watched it in 2018.
But without necessarily spoiling it, the idea of the puberty syndrome was a great concept. It was it. So, and the thing is that it wasn't even the focal point of the show. While being the focal point, they do this really neat interpretation of making the scenarios that may occur throughout the show intertwined with the puberty syndrome, but also they're explaining more of the emotional state of people who are suffering from this puberty syndrome and how it plays into the real world.
It's brilliant. It's just brilliant. It's like if Neil deGrasse Tyson was an anime in a lot of cases. That's all I'm gonna say to that. But
yeah, I it's one of those things that you kind of, you're going to go into it and you're going to get your own interpretation of it. It tells you exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And I play favorites. Hear me out.
Is your favorite Futaba?
I do like her.
I love Futaba.
It's her sternness, but 100%. I think Mai is like the best.
Yeah.
Like real life, she is both too mature and innocent. Like yet not immature. Like not immature enough. Like she needs to be a little bit more immature.
I think that term is innocent. I think she's just innocent in that sense. Yeah. But she's mature about her innocence.
Yeah, it's like I love her character. And I mean, not to take anything away from any of the other characters, because
they're all fantastic.
To be fair, every character who was here presented themselves well, and like you said with Futaba, we have Kunimi. I actually really enjoyed like his outlook and his placement within the show. There was no misgivings in terms of how they did things. And now,
dude, I think you said it right. Sorry to interrupt, but I think you said it right on the head. It's the entire show is maturity. Like everything is, and I talked about this. I think I talked about this with you and just chilling in the Discord. Is how Sakuda is not a bumbling idiot when it comes to this romance stuff. He's not nervous or shy, or you know what I'm saying. It's just he has Hachiman levels of charisma when it comes to MC, and that is my favorite fucking MC type of anime of all time. They're just those characters that just understands what's going on and understands the world. Now there is a moment in later in the movie that is kind of iffy, but sort of understandable. No, not really. And I'm gonna let you when you get to the movies find that out, but. Just incredible slate of characters, and even his little sister, Kaida. Love everything about her.
Yeah, and her crazy levels of innocence that just hit even harder in the show.
I cried 3 times in the show.
Now
and then in the movies 3 more times because I cried once in each movie.
Now I know we've had this discussion before, and I'm pretty sure you watched it dubbed, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I love the dubbed actually.
I actually really enjoy the dub. Hear me out.
Me too.
I loved these voice actors, right? I was watching it and I accidentally turned on the subs. That was when I cried. I am not gonna lie to you, bro. It was something about, and it was that final episode. I turned on the sub just by accident. I'm literally using my phone to control the TV, and it was at that moment when he screams like the first minute of the show running, and I'm like,
he did good in the dub too.
And no, I watched that. I watched the last episode twice, in dub and sub, and I was like, ain't no way. I almost want to go back and rewatch the first season in sub just to see if voices made that much of a difference.
I'm gonna say this on the site that shall not be named. The first movie is subbed only, so just watch that, and you'll get everything you'll need.
But I will say that last episode subbed. That's what because I watched it dubbed. I watched it dubbed first.
Yeah, and
I was like, this is good. I went back and watched it sub though, and from the moment he screamed is when I got
choked up,
emotional. Yeah, I was like, nah, bro. And it was just like, it just felt, and it could be because his voice in the sub is deeper, so it felt a little bit more like mature when he had that. So I guess I resonated with him more. But man,
yeah.
Either way, it was phenomenal. I would say
the dub does fit his more high school aesthetic than the sub does, because the sub he got a grown ass man voice in the sub.
Yeah, in the sub he sound like a grown man, and they all sound older. They all sound
absolutely
borderline adult.
Yeah, but it all resonated so well, dude.
Even his little sister does not sound like a 7th grader. She sounds like a like she's almost out of high school.
Yeah, exactly. But so you didn't get a chance to watch the movies yet because they're not on Crunchyroll. I think it's supposed to be coming to Crunchyroll in a couple of days. Actually, one of them, which is
gonna be crazy.
Rascal does not dream of a bunny. Rascal does not dream of a dreaming girl, which is that one. Fucking, I just got chills. I literally, my hair on my arms are standing. I just got chills just thinking about that movie. Ugh, bruh, crazy. Absolutely insane. And then, oh my God, then Dreaming of a Knapsack, which is the next movie. I just can't, why did it take me so long? This is understandably, like rewatching it, this is one of the greatest shows ever. It truly is that special. It's that good with the cast of characters, the plot, the scientific piece of it, that the way it brings real world stuff in it. The word I want to say to that is, I would say is considered a huge spoiler, so I'm not going to say it, but I'll say it off air with you later. It's just fucking fantastic, man. It's fantastic. I think I think
just say Schrodinger's cat.
No, it wasn't even that. That one was cool too, but that has played a part in anime multiple times, i.e., even in Shoshimin, which we're going to talk about here shortly. I'm gonna message you in Discord because I just and it's gonna be quick, so my spelling is definitely gonna be wrong. But I tell knows what I'm talking about. And I think it's a huge spoiler if you mention it, but like that part was so fucking chills, man, right. Chills. It was unbelievable, and it plays an even bigger role later. So I love this. I fucking love this series. I love it so much. Okay.
You're very right. You can't bring that up in.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. Oh, man. Sorry. Thank you for letting me gush about that. And community, thank you for listening and letting me gush about it too. I'm glad you watched it though.
Oh, yeah.
Did it hit your top 100?
100%. It would definitely be in the top 100. Like,
top
objectively for sure. Top 50, I don't think there's many slice of life that I could put above it if I'm being objective.
I can't wait to watch these movies too.
It could probably slide in the top 30.
Okay, I love that.
Like, it's one that I could see myself recommending to people.
100%. I asked that now because I want to get your gauge after the 3 movies as well. And then after we get to gauge of 3 movies,
change that.
Yeah, after those 3 movies, and then when we start to see the series when the summer starts. Oh, dude, I'm so fucking excited now. And it was crazy because I had it as my top, like most excited, because I remember it being so good, but I couldn't remember exactly why it was so good. And I only watched it sub back then, which again, this was before the podcast, so my attention span wasn't as enthralled into the anime space yet. So I was just like, oh, this is cool. What a cool theory. And then, you know, I get down in and I'm watching it again. I'm like, holy shit, like what is this? What's even better than this? But yeah,
not a lot right now. I mean, it definitely supersedes a lot of slice of life. So I'm very surprised that even the following is cult following, like you said.
Yeah, it is. It is. And again, it's because of that, like you said, the cover and then the title, the name of the title just don't seem, you know, like why would I watch that?
That's true. That's true. These long anime titles
just don't ever work. All right, now let's talk about the wrap of the spring season. Let's get into a show, man, that I find to be an extremely great show once you turned off the dub. And that's from Country Bumpkin, from old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman. Once I turned off that dub, this show has began to become 100 times better. And I don't mean that facetiously or being hyperbolic in any way. It was literally 100 times better on the sub. And again, we're not dubbed subbed elitists here, but I just gotta mention that. It was so bad. Amazon, I don't know what you did or who you hired. Don't do it again. Just take the time to find good voice actors.
I'm gonna make a confession. I turned on the sub once, but I kept it on dubbed.
That is insane.
Now, hear me out.
My heart
I
is
agree.
broke.
I wholeheartedly agree with the entirety of the idea that the show, it just the voice acting is more dynamic in the subs, right?
Oh my god,
which is wild to say because in the dub they are very monotone. They talk like this. Oh my god, I can't believe you just hit a dragon with your sword. You're so masterful, master. They
talk like us reading shit.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Like reading it poorly. Like I don't read at a high school level.
Right.
Kind of reading. But was the show good? Was it fun? Was it enjoyable? Yes.
So good.
Yes. It was definitely one of the funner shows this season, bro. Mm-hmm. Easy. And it was also wholesome in most regards. Like everything he did was wholesome.
Yeah, totally. Him as a character and what I love about it, and I did see the same, I believe it's the same, it was a YouTube video for me, but I did see clips of it after I watched the YouTube video, what Christian the Archivist was talking about, and it's how that show is actually based off of real life swordsman techniques. Like it was contrived from, you know, the Anglo-Saxon swordsman type, as well as Japanese, like when they started to learn that type of swordsmanship from that too. It was just dope as hell. Like it's just an incredible feature and you could see it. And I will say this was the most beautifully 3D CGI animated action scenes I've ever seen in my life. Well, okay, maybe I can't say that because 2B Hero X exists, but that's a different kind of art style. You know what I mean. Y'all know what I mean.
What you mean?
It was special. It was a special sword fights for sure.
And what I would assume you mean is how it was put together, how it was choreographed, right? Because while 2B Hero X has great fight choreography in general, I think that Old Country Bumpkin, what it excels at is like it even feels like the placement of the hands matter more.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They do such a good job of articulating the importance of every movement and even the thought pattern throughout that movement. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Old Country Bumpkin, while it was this menial show that you could laugh at, it took itself serious when it came to him being a master of his craft.
Yep.
And that's where the show has like both the levity and the heaviness. It was supreme in this way that it was funny, but you learned something watching it. It makes me think about when we first watched the volleyball anime.
Haikyuu.
When we first watched Haikyuu, how Polow said, I knew nothing about volleyball before I came into this.
Mm-hmm.
Man, if I go pick up a sword, I might be weighing it against my body to see if I need a bigger sword.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If my hand can rotate properly with it,
yep.
I genuinely feel like not even to say like, yeah, I would think I'm a good swordsman now because I watched this show.
Yeah, you got a better understanding of it.
Yeah, I have an understanding that maybe I need to even dive into the information a little bit more before even investing in such an endeavor, right? And this show, it was fun, but I feel like it gave a great detail.
Yeah. I think this is one of the rare shows where the title actually matches the plot line as well. Because again, he's not technically considered a sword master, and until later. And then in this season 2 he is confirmed too, so I can't wait for that. They're going to dive more deeply into that. It seems foreshadowing, I guess. But yeah, I thought it was one of the better shows this season. Again, super easy to watch. And again, I could not watch it dubbed no more for the first time in a long time, because normally I would suffer like Tell. I would suffer through the dubs and continue to watch it because dubs are just easy when you have so many shows to watch, like throughout a week, right? It's just easy to turn it on and you could look away for a second and still understand what's going on. But, after trying it, I just couldn't do it no more after episode like 4. And the show changed completely for me because after that, before that, it was middling. It was definitely a middle of the road show until I turned on that sub. And maybe it would have got better because the story did gradually get better as well. But it was just hard to handle for my ears. Quick side tangent before we continue on. There was a show that we didn't talk about last week that I want to bring up this week that is actually coming out unironically next week, roughly. Now that I look at the start time here. Yeah, no, it comes out this Saturday, which is Lord of Mysteries, which is another Chinese anime, which is said to be probably going to be one of the best animated shows on top of To Be Hero X this summer season. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Nobody mentioned Lord of Mysteries as far as their most anticipated. So even our community was lacking on this one. So I want to make sure that we give this proper credit. But this is Lord of Mysteries. Don't have my glasses on, so forgive me. Let me put them on real quick. Here's the synopsis of it. It's done by a studio. It's BC made pictures, but it's produced by Tencent. So of course they have the money behind it. That makes a whole lot of sense now. But with the rising tide of steam powered machinery, who can come close to being a beyonder? Shrouded in the fog of the history and darkness, who or what is lurking evil that murmurs into our ears? Waking up to be faced with a string of mysteries, Zhao Mingiri finds himself reincarnated as Klein Mortetti in the alternate Victorian era world where he sees a world filled with machinery, cannons, dreadnoughts, airships, difference machines. I've never heard of that. As well as potions, divinations, hexes, tarot cards, and sealed artifacts. The light continues to shine, but the mysteries has never gone far. Follow Klein as he finds himself entangled with the churches of the world, both orthodox and unorthodox, while he slowly develops newfound powers.
Okay,
yeah. So for one, what makes this unique is that he's coming from a world of I believe sword and magic to steam, old Country Bumpkin type of world to a steam-powered Victorian era world, which seems extremely interesting. And again, you can watch the trailer for yourself. It looks phenomenal. This is a very popular show on the internet's period. People are looking forward to this because it is a Chinese manga or whatever, manhwa, if you will. But yeah, it's supposed to be insanely animated. Like it's supposed to have double the animation that Sun Jinwoo and Biru had. So, I mean, if it's a Chinese cartoon, look at To Be Hero X as an example. This is probably going to be insane.
Or the hidden ones.
Yep.
Yeah, really good animation there. So yeah, man.
I can't believe we didn't talk about this at all. I didn't even have it on my watching list because to be honest, I didn't even see it.
It wasn't there, bro. It couldn't have been.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not tripping. Maybe they're counting it as spring because it comes out so soon next week. I don't know, but I really didn't see it.
Yeah.
Actually, let me go to. I just hit the summer tab in Annie list, and it is not here. You're right. So we weren't wrong by missing it.
Yeah, it was not there, bro. they was messing with us. It's added to the list.
Sweet. All right. Back to spring. Let's talk about something we dropped.
Oh, brother.
And I just want to, Lazarus. I just marked it off my list today for the first time. I'm not going to go back to that, even during a break.
I'm speaking of Lazarus, right? Because I really don't want to dwell on that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
True.
I'm gonna watch it, right? But it's not gonna be on. It's not gonna be on, and I'm not gonna pay attention to it like it's something I need to watch. I'm turning it on. I'm gonna turn it on. And hope that it gets good at some point. It's gonna click and start playing games or something. Play some Elden Ring. Yeah. And hope, I look up and I hope something good is happening. But
I don't even think it deserved your time for that.
I'm more interested in watching and hear me out than Lazarus. I'm more interested in getting back to Death of a Witch. Hoping that had a resurgence of something somewhat good. Because I did feel like there was something there that had a chance to be good, whereas Lazarus was it was pelted with this idea of what it was supposed to be and what it was intended to be, and it just never fulfilled that. Versus Death of a Witch, I had no expectations for it to begin with.
Which is Once Upon a Time, a Witch's Death is what you mean, right?
Yes, Once upon a time, a Witch's Death. Yeah,
I had to make sure I had that right in my list.
Yeah, you're right. I'm going to go back and finish that, but I did end up dropping it earlier this season. I will not be going back to watch Witch Watch though.
I'm gonna start, for the sake of Crystal. Shout out to Crystal. I'm gonna start pausing shows. But because I mean in the analyst context, because you can set them to pause. I normally keep them as watching so they can populate my list to see what I need to finish.
Right.
But for certain shows like Once Upon a Time, a Witch's Death, I don't want to particularly mark that as drop for the same exact reasons why you said it, right? I got a feeling I know how that's going to play out, but I was still kind of interested in watching it. Away, anytime soon, no. But
luckily, because we have this gap, though, I feel like, why not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why not? And it'll pad out this week.
100%. Yeah, the gap is going to be, we got what looks to be 4 or 5 shows maybe that are wrapping up, and then Lord of Mystery starting on Saturday, but that's the day before we record, so that'll be fresh in our minds anyway. And then 2 weeks after that, we just have nothing. So, yeah. What about The Brilliant Healer's New Life in the Shadows? Did you finish that one?
Phenomenal.
Polow until last show. But
man,
Polow until last show that I would even say I can recommend. It was easy to watch. It wasn't even hard to watch.
Man, hear me out. The Brilliant Healer, that is one of that show. It tackled this very understandable. This angle of the healer gets dispatched from the party, right, all the time. We don't even really know the real backstory of that. Yeah, but we don't even really know the real backstory of that. They did it and made that completely irrelevant. Mm-hmm. Normally, it's about get back or making that party feeling make them feel like, oh no, we lost something major. They never spun the block and came back.
Well, they did for that one episode.
Yeah, for that one episode, you're right. But it was
lightly touched.
It was so minimal, right? That was it.
Yeah. True.
Normally it's 4-5 episodes and they mad and they want to kill him. Like, what did we watch last season? The strongest when he went back to his classmates and how they went to the dungeon with them and then turned into a whole monster.
I just watched
strongest
that.
A rank or something like that. Yeah. Either way,
that has one more episode next week.
Right. Which I'm gonna finish that one too.
Same,
Either way, the way that they tackle the philosophy of being kicked from the party and doing your own thing, making sure that you're like, I'm never going broke again. I'm a healer. People need healers. And then the idea that he's like, his education on healing is so skewed. Yeah. He has no idea he's amazing. Yep. Until it feels like he knows he's amazing, but he still knows that he didn't get a formal education on how amazing he is. So he uses it now, which it feels this way to me. He uses it now to, so to speak, say that like, I never got proper training, so I'm just healing like this because this is what's convenient. I'm going to heal everybody because it's convenient, not because I got proper training. If I got proper training, I'd be healing like you, which is poorly. And I love it. I love it, bro.
I loved his character. I love the characters around him, except for when he went to the Capitol. That's all I'm going to say to that. When he went to the Capitol, I wasn't too fond of that particular surrounding of cast around him, but outside of that, it was wonderful, man. It was so wonderful. Again, easy to watch. I like stuff that's easy to watch.
Yeah.
Moving on to I think is a fun one, and that's the Unaware Atelier Meister.
Yeah,
we enjoy it. It's not good. It wasn't a good show. But it was just one of those guilty pleasure shows that you just watched and enjoy, like a Saturday morning cartoon.
How does bro legitimately get so lucky?
Bruh. Is it even... Dude, was it the luck or unintentional skill? I guess that's what luck is.
He does have all the skill in the world.
Yeah.
But the demon lord slaying, like his whole village is really that tough. They build different.
Yeah.
They build entirely different.
That village is demons.
The whole village. But it's so cool. It's because it's like, you think about it, this whole village has had to deal with demons so long to the point to where it's like, oh, it's a demon lord? I thought we killed all of those. You mean like you were killing demon lords like you were hunting rabbits?
Like
rabbits? Serious?
Yep.
Like, this is insane. And to everybody else, it's mind shattering.
Yeah. Because you think about the concept of being in a backwater town that nobody ever even knows about or goes to, being raised up in a completely different environment to where you come out into the open world, if you will, for lack of a better term, and fucking can technically rule the world if you the ability he has, unintentionally, is a unique concept that, I mean, they touched on it in anime, obviously, in the past, but I think it's a cool way of doing it. It is a really cool way of doing it.
It also makes me think that at some point, somebody really powerful went to his village that he was raised in and thought, okay, every resource possible is here. So let's just make it normal. Let's make it normal and completely cut these people off from the world and make them think that this way of life is normal. So that when you leave this village and you don't see these resources, you're like, oh, we don't have any orichalcum? That sucks. I guess I'll just have to use iron then.
He's like, it's normal for us to dig till we find orichalcum and find bundles and bundles of it. It's normal for us to dig and build mansions in a day.
I'm telling you. By himself, repair the whole castle wall.
That had a blessing on it unintentionally. It's crazy. It was just a fun watch that just puts a smile on your face as you're watching it. And you know what? That's okay. If it's you don't have to turn on your brain. It was dubbed too. Dub wasn't great, but it was just a fun and easy watch.
It was 100% fun. It was just on and it was good. And the kids laughed. I laughed.
I love that. I love that too. One that none of us enjoyed, but we all watched, was, can this boy-girl relationship survive?
Yo, we really did all watch.
We all watched it in our community. Well, yeah, I think all of us did, maybe except for Rob Stone. But I mean, most of the the people that talk in the community watched it, and we were all talking about it every week, and we were all miserable, but we all watched it. It was some of the most dude.
Stupid. Oh my god.
Yo, didn't it make watching Dreaming of a Rascal Dreaming of a Bunny Girl even better?
Yeah,
or make that even worse? Same point, different way of saying it, I guess.
It was wild because
the contrast.
The contrast is vast, obviously. I don't even want to talk about them in the same sentence because it's a disservice.
True.
Let's talk about the fact that we ended on this like
pseudo-ambiguous.
Yeah, but it's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like they're being upfront now, right?
Right.
But it's also like, bro, it took you 12 years to get here.
And it could have been done 11 years ago, i.e. 11 episodes ago.
Right. And while, like, granted, if this was like Rent a Girlfriend, we would have never gotten to that point.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
But at least I wasn't as annoyed with Rent a Girlfriend. You know what I mean? Oh my God. This was... I would never recommend this to anyone. I would never want to put anybody through this, bro. Dude. I would never want to put nobody through this.
It's really hard to have a terrible female character like they do in this one. Like, extremely hard.
And then have a decent one just sitting on the sidelines.
Chilling. Not even a decent one. She was great.
Like, but even in the end, she's sitting on the sidelines. She like, I guess y'all don't want this. Or she's like, I guess you don't want this. I'll just give it to him. And then he come running like a dog. But it's like, bro, the show just deserved... It didn't deserve anything. Let's be real. It didn't deserve anything.
I don't even know why we finished. It's like it was like a train wreck that you couldn't look away from.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way of putting it. A train wreck that you just could not fucking turn your head away from because it was just that chaotic and dumb.
Yeah, we gave it a 3-episode rule. And when we got to the 3rd episode, we were like, oh my God, this has to get better, right? At some point.
It did not.
It didn't.
But it had like sparks, right? It had sparks of moments where it was just about the jewelry or anybody else that wasn't Himari. It was decent, but then everything else was awful. It was and then the adults were pretty good except for the one adult.
Right.
But man.
And I stand on my dress up darling comment, like you just said. If the show was entirely about the jewelry, it would have been great.
It would have been one of the best because it was a unique story, a unique way of telling a story. I think
they could have kept that concept that she was with him for that, but put the jewelry first, like make that forward.
Shout out to one of our Patreon producers, Fear. He says, "Yeah, this was not a good journey. 5 out of 10 final score."
Fact.
That's a fact for sure.
I don't know why am I laughing? For real.
It was.
You're right.
You're right.
You're right.
100% right. 5 is exactly probably where I am too, because everything was. I mean, I guess the animation was a bit better than a 5 for sure, but just plot, story, characters.
It's like the highs were but the lows were oh my God.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right.
It's not worse than Demon Lord Retry.
Right.
But is it better? Barely.
It's not even up to, what was the one that we watched that had that twist, that turning point?
Oh, Love Flops?
Love Flops. It wasn't even that level of good.
Well, I don't know. Love Flops, once it hit that high was huge. So good that it was like,
yeah,
I can give this a 6.
100%. And minimum. That's minimum.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to we already talked about Windbreaker at the beginning, so I guess that don't count. Is that it? Did all that finish? Oh, well, so Shoshimin.
Did we really give Windbreaker its flowers though?
We only gave, no, we didn't. Windbreaker, again, one of the best shows for sure, because I said this at the start of the show, but the way it finished, where it all began, like telling the story of how Bofriend started, and then in the way they told that story, and then the way that the head of Bofriend was thought like, oh shit, I'm kind of worried about Sakura, because when he first came here, he was the same as a situation that happens. Okay, let me chill, because I'm going into fucking major spoilers. Yeah. But it was just a brilliant story beat. And then the smaller storylines in this season was phenomenal. It had major moments in this show that is just huge, that most meathead lovers probably wouldn't love. But it was told so well that you can't deny it.
This,
you know the title I'm talking about.
Right. For me, this whole season, they pumped the brakes. And I say they pumped the brakes because season 1, it was more action forward. There was more movement in terms of like fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was either getting to the fight or figuring out how the fight is about to happen or fighting. This season, it had legitimate character dynamics being built. It had characters being transitioned and moved to different areas or dynamics within the show. It had characters. It had moments where we had to understand who these characters truly were. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That one of the 4 kings, really realizing who this guy was, where the backstory was for them, and doing so in a meaningful fashion. The show was absolutely crazy.
Spectacular.
Did not need all the action that we got, even though it was not half the action we got in the previous season. We didn't even need as much as the action we got.
I was about to say
it was impactful. It felt like the blocks were important. It felt like the hits were important. It felt like the misses were important. It felt like everything was so important.
You know the term I would use? The perfect term I think is to be used for it is meaningful. Everything was meaningful. It had a reason. It felt great, man. It felt great to watch. Again, it's another super easy show to watch. I cannot wait to. For one, Cloverworks did Dreaming of series as well, by the way, just to throw that out there. Cloverworks is insane. Their talent of like directing and telling the story in these anime is so incredible. Like, you can even say, even for something that you would probably say, which is probably their least compelling story, Spy Family. And that's still pretty damn good. You know what I'm saying? It's not the best. It's not Windbreaker or Dreaming of, or, you know, or that type of quality of storytelling, but it's still really good as far as direction goes. And I don't know if Cloverworks has missed much
in a while.
Yeah. They got my Dress Up Darling too, by the way, just to make sure we remember that.
Man,
like, I'm just looking through their list right now. Bocchi the Rock, if you love that.
I think they even help animate some of like the Fate stuff. So even in terms of like overall looks, they do a really good job in general.
Shadow House, they also have Shadow House as well.
I love Shadow House.
Shadow House is dope.
Yeah.
I finished that. I don't think I finished the second season though. I gotta get back to that.
Yeah, the second season was more story for it.
Horimiya, which is another great romance animated I would stand by to this day. I'm going through their list. Fate, the Persona series.
Oh yeah, Persona is definitely a great one.
And mostly the good Persona ones, because Persona 4 wasn't that great, and they didn't do Persona 4. As far as the adaptation goes, the game, incredible, of course. So don't get that mistaken. I mean, I guess the one that I didn't enjoy that they did was I May Be a Guild Receptionist, but I don't think that's their fault. I think
that could be writing, but even then, the what you don't like about it is her reasoning, so to speak. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't even think it was that bad.
You finished it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never even finished it. I couldn't finish it. I couldn't take it. So okay, now to Shoshimin. It wrapped. Okay, first question I'm gonna ask you was the second season better than the first?
No.
Not even close to me either. According to analysts, though, they like the second season better, and I think they only like the second season better is because it continues, and the way this first season ended, I think most people didn't like. So let me just throw that out there. How to Become Ordinary season 1 was almost perfection for me, in my opinion. This season 2 revealed a huge character flaw for me for one of the main characters, i.e., Osanai. She stinks.
Yeah,
she just stinks, and she continued to stink to the last line in this particular episode. Like, why are you the way you are?
Like this?
Yeah, it's not even necessary. It's disgusting. It's toxic. It's just everything you would hate about it. However, I'm glad the story wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and it being directed at her towards the end of it all, but being directed to Kabuto in a really unique way. It was just very what's the word I'm looking for, Till? You know the word I'm looking for. Convenient. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yes, and I will say also this. A lot of what I think people will like about the show is the fact that it's beautiful. It sounds good.
Cinematic
it looks good.
Yeah.
This is like a movie quality anime every step of the way. The angles and whatnot, the aspect ratio they use is beautiful. It's perfection. But then while it is very complex in a way, they break it all down for you once it's figured out. Once
in a nice way.
Comes right. Yeah, they break it all down for you. So it's a show that engages your mind, but once the story is figured out, you don't have to engage anymore. They're gonna give it to you. And they do it in a way that doesn't make you feel dumb. So it is actually it is a really good show in that regard as well. Like watching Case Closed, sometimes you might be like, I don't even understand how you figured that out.
That's true.
How did you get to that deduction, bro?
Yeah,
Conan,
yeah.
how'd you get there?
That's a good point.
But here, they walk you through the steps and call the character that they're talking to stupid, but not you.
It's believable too. It's believable. To the solution they get to.
But the issue you have with season 2, it comes down to the fact that yes, this season was so much more heavily involved with the actual character development, and the way it ends leads to a season 3. I think we're going to get a season 3.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know I don't disagree with that. I just don't know if I need it.
And I'm going to tell you, season 3 will probably be better than season 2, and I say that with how the last lines went.
I hate the way that makes me not want to watch it more than anything.
But it makes me feel like we'll be missing a character for most of that season.
Oh, so our logic is the same. Okay. Our logic is the same, but in a different aspect. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But then I don't care about him figuring that out to meet up with a character I can't stand now. So I don't know if that makes it better or worse.
Spending time with a character that is good, in my opinion, I think is worth it. Now, getting back at the character that we think is manipulative, and I'm not even gonna say we think is manipulative and kind of a doucherina.
Yeah, for sure.
C'est la vie. It is what it is. It ain't my show to write. It's just my show to drop if I don't like it.
Bar.
Now, if they come out with season 3, I will watch it. Yeah. Because of where it points to, and I think the character dynamics there, from how they let it let into it would be either a little bit more intellectual or
please,
hopefully more engaging. And because like it's not even because the things in this show in this season were engaging. It's just season 2. I feel like because they didn't so heavily dive into the development of the characters and focus more on them being ordinary while doing unordinary things. It was just so much better, and I don't understand how people like season 2 more than season 1. But if you liked season 2 better, please let me know.
Yeah, dude, the fact she said it's because you're trying to say I was a schemer, so I'm going to come up with this fucking elaborate bullshit that you got to go through. We're supposed to be just friends. Like, why can't you just be friends with me? Like, would you fucking just be normal? I guess that's the title of the show. Or maybe it's
next best option.
Maybe that's the point. But God, it's so dumb. It's just a dumb reason for any of her actions or retaliation points. For the most part, for 99% of the show.
Next best option.
Ugh.
Option number 2, even though you ain't got no others.
Yeah, it's like stop. You shouldn't even be his option number 1. And I hope that's what season 3 is. I hope season 3 is him shitting on her. Just like, you know what? I did it because I was bored. You bored me.
That's not even in his character type.
It's not. But I would love for it to become his character type because of her douchebaggerina-ness.
Get to college and switch up.
Yeah, like change up, like mature, grow. I'm like, listen, I don't need you. I did this to find you, to tell you I don't need you. And that would make this show brilliant. I don't think it will go that route, but it would be great if it did.
I don't foresee that. I'm sorry.
Archivists, mark this just in case that happens. So save this in the archives. We're going to come back and visit it. All right. We already talked about Fire Force Season 3. Make sure you check out the free pre-show of 306 on Patreon. Patreon.com/MikeCheckWaifu. We covered literally everything we thought about that. And then I think the last but not least is our review, right? Unless you got shows you finished that finished this week that wasn't on my list. I'm just in this spring catalog right now, looking at all the green dots, and I think we covered it all. Unless you got one that you, like I said, finished. Did My Hero Vigilantes finish?
No, it's not done yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we got all the same things that we touched on. So nothing necessarily different between us.
So next week, we're finishing both of our sleepers, even though Tell Sleepers supposedly technically been done, but I'm a little behind on it. But so that's going to be Moonrise and Summer Pockets, as well as a few other shows that are finishing next week. We're going to touch on that. But let's get to the last but not least, the review. Before we get into that, let's get to know Mike Check Waifu. It is my turn to roll the random number generators. Tell turn to read the question. Or is it the opposite?
It's you go ahead and roll it, brother.
Copy that. 8.
Wow. Who is your favorite anime director?
Ooh. This is the way I'm going to find it. For me personally. I'm going to go to my favorite anime of all time. And I'm going to look at the list of directors that they have in AniList. Which everybody knows my favorite anime of all time is ReZero, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite director is Masahiro Watanabe. He's done ReZero. He's done my favorite Naruto movie, the last Naruto movie.
Mm-hmm.
That movie is spectacular, but oh my God, and he did the Lost Tower one. That one's also fantastic. Oh my God, he did Toradora. Oh, he just did the key animation for episode 19. Unfortunately, he did Inuyasha. But that was his directorial debuts, so I give him slack for that one. The ReZero. Yeah, I'm gonna call him my favorite. Oh wait, he was formerly affiliated with Kyoto Animation, which is Key Studios, which had a part in Clannad in Air. How ironic.
So I knew you were gonna say Watanabe, so I'm gonna leave that be, and I'm going to go to Tomoki Kobayashi, who is the director for Summer Pockets, Nobody's Way to an Exploration Hero, Spy Classroom, Remake Our Life, Steins Gate,
Clannad. No, not Clannad.
Did he do Clannad?
No, I was mistaken.
Let me see. No, I don't think he did Clannad.
No, he didn't. I was mistaken.
Hamtaro.
How ironic. That is actually fitting of.
Oh my God. It's definitely fitting of me. But you know, for him to have done Steins Gate.
Oh, that's huge. That's massive.
Yeah. Devil's a part-timer.
That's massive as well.
He did the Steins Gate movie. 2 of the movies, Remake Our Life, Spy Classroom, Summer Pockets. Tomoki Kobayashi. Yeah.
That's a great choice.
That I knew ReZero had to be on our list regardless, so I went that route.
Well done. You know, I'm looking at another one too that I can possibly say. I'm not going to conversation.
No, go ahead. This who is it?
His name is Kenichiro Sayato, and he did Frieren, Oshinoko, Oshinoko, Boshi the Rock, Mob Psycho.
You said two great ones right off the bat.
The Elusive Samurai.
Yep.
God, Elusive Samurai was directed so fucking well, by the way. I just want to throw it out there. Wonder Egg Priority. I know people love Wonder Egg. Gamers. I love Gamers. Aka 13. I love Aka 13. As far as the direction goes. Damn, he even did a Boogie Pop. Not so much. I didn't like that one too much. But Tacto P. Holy shit.
Tacto P?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually really like that one.
Monogatari series.
Oh, yeah. See,
it looks like the Monogatari series off in Monster season. So the off in Monster seasons.
Which were still good.
Yeah,
they give a lot of really good detail.
Really good. Oh, Sunny Boy. He did Sunny Boy. He did episode 3, 8. And then a bunch of key animations on that one. No, he's damn. This guy's insane. He's on a tearing spree. Wow. Talented. 32. Huge. All right. Now, let's get into this review. You want to take a quick break before we get into it? Are we good to go right to it?
Good.
Let's get it. All right. This is we're going to spoil Two Perfect Saint. Now, before we start to spoil it, we're going to remain as spoiler free as possible within this review, unless we call for spoilers. If we say spoilers, which will be after the scores are all tallied up and done, then we'll go into spoilers, but we're going to be a review of spoiler free review of To Be Perfect Saint, which again, I think next week we should pick our review for the summer season because we didn't do that either. But I digress. Actually, you want to just make it the Lord of Mysteries? Fuck it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We both know.
Is that going to be 12 episodes?
Ooh, great question. You are. It doesn't say. So once we find out, we should find out here shortly since it premieres next week. But I digress. Two Perfect Saint. We're going to review that right now. Okay, spoiler free. Now, for the uninitiated, the way our reviews work, which is a very important piece of our podcast, is that we each as hosts rate an anime based off of 5 categories. Those 5 categories was listed here, but I got rid of it rolling a random number generator. So forgive me, so I have to pull it up. Yeah, those 5 categories. Sorry. Let me get it pulled up.
Those 5 categories are
there it is.
Animation.
I got it. Those 5 categories are animation, which is the art style, visual direction, scenery, and overall viewing experience. Sound design, which is the soundtrack, composition, sound effects, and how we feel it tied with the visuals. Pacing, episode to episode strength and continuity, as well as how well the story was developed and unfolded as the series went on. Plot, the overall story, how well it was written, and how well the story resonated with us as the viewer. And last but certainly not least, characters, which is the relatability, overall development, and growth of the characters, and how memorable they were. We rate those 5 categories using a 20-point scale, which is 1, 1.5, 9, 9.5, 10, etc. And then we take those averages of each host's, average that average down to one official Mic Check Waifu review score. So with that being said, let's start with your overall thoughts of the 2. Let me get the proper name so people understand what we're talking about. The 2 Perfect Saint, Tossed Aside by My Fiance and Sold to Another Kingdom.
Philia Adenoir is an amazing character. I love her. She deserves the world. Mia Adenoir is an amazing character. I love her. She deserves the world. Julius Zitonia deserves to be stabbed in the back of the neck. I ain't gonna lie to
you. Yeah. Well said.
Just the most guttural thing you could possibly do.
You say all that to say.
The show is great, bro.
Yeah.
The show is phenomenal. And it's one of those things where, like, it's supposed to do. You enjoy the characters you're supposed to enjoy, and you hate the characters you're supposed to hate. And a lot of the reasons we enjoy the characters so much is because a character like Philia deserves the world, right? And the characters who are introduced to her outside of, the immediate characters, they cherish her, so to speak. And in that scenario, when that character is receiving nothing but admiration and love, when us as viewers know that they deserve it, it feels good. This show, it was like a dopamine rush. And it wasn't because it was the prettiest show, even though it's a beautiful show. It wasn't because it's the prettiest show. It's literally because we're watching someone who deserves the world get it. And in the most simple sense, because it's not literally like, hey, we're putting you on a pedestal immediately or anything like that. It's because we understand, and this is me trying to avoid spoilers, we understand what you could have been experiencing versus what you will be or are experiencing now. Yeah,
it's everything that you mentioned. You did a great job of not spoiling it. Everything that you mentioned is in the description of the show, so you're not spoiling anything there, which I think you did an extremely eloquently and well said. It was a show that did nothing but continue to build on the episode prior, which, again, I say that and it sounds so simple, It sounds so simple to say that, but when you look at all of the anime we watch and all of the anime that other people watch, it is so hard to find a show that continues to grow and get better and not have any regression within its episode structure, within its storytelling, within its writing, within its character development, within its anything. Right. It didn't have an ounce of regression within it at all. It was just a wonderful, wonderful series that is extremely touted. Now, I am saying all that to say that the review score that we're probably going to give it is more objective because it's based off of categories. But subjectively, this show was brilliant. It was wonderful. Yeah. It was amazing. Subjectively, probably, I'm going to just spoil it, subjectively 9 out of 10 for me. You know what I'm saying? That kind of quality, but objectively, because our review skill works the way it does, it may seem a little different. So take that with what it is and understand the way that this review scale works is that it's mostly objective because of the 5 categories. Starting off with animation, what did you think of the animation and what score would you give it?
I think the animation was great. it. I love this show. The animation did a phenomenal job of displaying what it was supposed to display. It was great. Did it stand out per se? It was great for what we were supposed to get and what we did get. It had moments of brilliance even for what we did get, but it wasn't like a showpiece for it. So in animation, I have to give it a 7.5.
Interesting. I'll put mine in before you finish your thought. And when I talk about it, wasn't the problem with these type of shows. And even though it did have action, it did have some action, very minuscule amount of action, but I would even categorize it as mostly slice of life-esque, a fantasy slice of life, right? They're not really known for animation unless you're Makane Too Many Losing Heroines or certain shows that go above and beyond when it comes to that kind of stuff. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't a Shoshimin level animation. It was just a normal. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. So I gave it a 7.
Okay. Oh no. I love this show. Just know that.
I love it so much, dude. So much. Which hurts. It hurts. Sound design. Now this is I think I mentioned this in our thread. Maybe it was referring to a different show, but I do remember thinking about this show's soundtrack and enjoying it so much. It was so fantastical and it matched the series brilliantly. I thought it was one of the better aspects of the show because it matched so well that I sometimes got chills while watching it. But again, it wasn't like mind blowing, but the voice acting was great from everybody, including the people you were supposed to hate. And then again, the music that was associated with the series, it was absolutely phenomenal. So I give that an 8.
So I have moments of memorability within the show, like what Polow said, when you kind of get those chills from events that happen. The voice acting was cool, but it wasn't like stellar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There wasn't anything that was supposed to be. It didn't feel like it was supposed to even stand out sometimes. Mm-hmm. But the music provided the ambience that it was supposed to be. So I actually agree with Polow, and I stick with the 8.
Yeah. All right, Tel, pacing.
Now, here is where I don't know, Polow might not like me for this because I think that the pacing was phenomenal.
Okay.
And I think that
my heart dropped in my chest a little bit.
I think that this is one of the stronger aspects of it because I felt like when this show had movement, it never regressed. It never went backwards. It was always moving forward. Even when you were like story-wise backtracking to go do something else that she felt needed to take care of, there were moments in the show where the characters moved her away from that regression, so to speak, in a way that felt natural, that felt like progression. So the pacing I actually think was very good. So I gave the pacing an 8.5.
All right, maybe I am a little sad at you, but and this is a testament to how I feel. This was one of the shows, again, I talked about it from fucking episode 2, I believe, that I just felt was that, and this is spoilers, not spoilers for the show, but spoilers for what I'm about to do here. The pacing was, again, one of my favorite parts about it, because again, the way each episode was paced. This is okay. All right, let me just say this, Tel. Sorry, I'm stumbling because I'm trying to articulate what I'm trying to say, because
to keep from cussing me out, y'all.
No, I'm trying to articulate what I'm trying to say, because this is something this is rarely done in anime. Okay, This is something where the pacing, plot, and characters all matched brilliantly together. Like, when you talk about the pacing, you can't talk about the pacing without talking about how good the plot was and how it continued to push forward. And what I say every time I talked about this show, even from the beginning, was each episode built on top of the other episode. They got better on top of the other episode that build on top of the other episode with the characters that build on top of each other in each episode. And they continued to step. It was a step. It was a staircase. It was a stairmaster of just steps between the characters, plot, and pacing that has continued to climb each and every single episode.
Yeah.
Above and beyond. I gave the pacing a 9.5. It was almost perfect. Almost perfect. The only reason why it wasn't perfect was because last episode pseudo felt rushed. And I feel like it was a time constraint thing because they had to kind of fit a lot in. But it was still a brilliantly wrapped series that I think was well done. Plot. I gave you the spoilers for it. It felt the same as pacing. The story continued to get better. It stairmastered its way up each and every episode. And then the plot lines between the sister, between Philia, the sister, her being sold off to the other kingdom, that's the name of the show. All of that continued to build on top of each other. 9.5.
So the plot for me, and I agree with what Polow said previously about how the plot, pacing, and characters coalesce into this like perfect mesh of what it should be,
which is rare.
Yeah, I actually, the plot of this show, I feel like they never dropped the ball, and even like the intermediary parts where things were like, we're just discussing how things are happening within the village. It was all like minor details that built up into what we're supposed to be understanding for the entirety of the show. Mm-hmm. I think the plot in its totality was the best part of the show, with the only other thing being equivalent in its exactness is the characters. And I gave the plot itself a 10.
Whoa. Let me just say, the only reason why I didn't give the plot a 10 was because, again, little beats that were kind of that were just kind of rushed and like thrown together when it came to the whole, overarching villain. But that's just me. I appreciate what Till went there. Is me for characters or you for characters?
It's me for characters. But I will also say this: they mentioned the previous Saint, and then they led into how we got this final character because of the Saint and things like that. I get why you might feel the way you feel, but I was like, I loved the plot. To me, it never felt like it gave me something that felt entirely absent.
I get
you know what I mean?
I get it. Yeah, truly.
Characters, man, I love these characters, bro. And these characters are something that they work so well together. They come together and they all make you feel something, which is appreciation for Philia. They make you feel like I already appreciated her, but I'm almost even more happy with the appreciation that she begins to acquire. I'm almost more happy with the feeling of elation and understanding that becomes acquired throughout the show. Mm-hmm. These characters are on so many different levels amazing, in my opinion, and it's hard to pinpoint anything other than the fact that there are characters you're supposed to dislike, and they were a part of the show at a point until they were no longer. So the characters for me, I gave a 9.5. It was the
absolute intelligence of each character. It was the way it subverted all expectation, because right, you go into it, I can't say that without, I'm gonna say it after, but you go into it feeling a certain way, you get something different, but when you get something different, it seems to be predictable. And while it is very straightforward and not as nuanced, it was still written so well and delivered so well because of the plot. Again, everything being so, it's like a fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich with a little bit of chocolate in it, where it's like a good mesh of flavors perfectly together, which makes it all the exact same for me. I gave the characters a 9.5. Pacing, plot, characters, 9.5s all the way through because of that perfect coagulation of just stuff that worked out well. It's a wonderful, wonderful series. Now, before we go into our average, I'm gonna add our guy TCB, who's a part of our community. Join the Discord because you can have access to our review scale. You can review your own anime and drop it in the community reviews, and we'll share it on the show just like we are with TCB. TCB animation is 7.5. His sound design is a 7.5. His pacing is an 8.5. His plot is an 8. His characters is an 8, which gives TCB overall score a 7.9. Not bad. I think he's a little low bally, but I understand where he's coming from. It makes sense in the context because if you look at ours seem higher, and it seems higher because I'm gonna be honest, it deserves it. But it seems higher because it just, in our objective mind, that it feels right. I don't think it feels wrong at all. But to go over our scores, I gave animation a 7. Till gave animation a 7.5. I gave sound design an 8. Till gave it an 8 as well. I gave pacing a 9.5. Till gave it an 8.5. Plot, I gave a 9.5. Till gave a 10. Characters, I gave a 9.5. Till gave a 9.5, which brings my overall score to an 8.7, which brings Till overall score to an 8.7, which brings our overall score to an 8.7. Oh, it made me laugh. I held back that laugh this entire time just to say that is fucking funny. Again, that's what makes
different reasons we come across the same
answer, bro. And it always, guess what? It always come down to pacing and plot. We do the same fucking thing. We view it so differently, but it's the same. It's such a good scale, man. It's such a brilliant way of doing it. If we do say so ourselves, because it's special. It is special. Yeah. Like I said, I don't think I'll ever have the opportunity to give pacing, plot, and characters the same exact score ever again, because it's so hard to get all three equally right, in my opinion, like this. Wouldn't you say?
I mean, all three of those were, I feel like, easily the highest categories of this show. Mm-hmm. And it's so hard to talk about any of those three without spoiling the show because they are so important to it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, and that to me goes to show how significantly it impacts the outcome of the show to have things like pacing, plot, and characters. Those are your world.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And unironically, TCB was about the same. He gave the pacing a little bit better score, but rightfully so, because the pacing was brilliant. Again, I talked about how each episode continued to get better each and every week. But yeah, he's virtually the same. 8 with the plot, 8 with the characters, 8.5 the pacing. So it's well done. It's well done, man. All right, let's slide into spoilers for just a little bit. So if you haven't watched it, the Two Perfect Saint, turn this part off. We appreciate you so much for listening, Rob Stone. We'll see you when you catch up and finish the episode, finish the season, and everybody else that's catching up. But spoilers now. Okay. Yeah. It was the fact that this is what I was mentioning when I was talking about the characters in the plot. Even when she got sold off, I expected her to be treated poorly again. I expected it to be that type of cliche when it comes to the shoujo type of shows that I've been watching lately. But it wasn't. She was treated nicely. Now I'm expecting her being treated nicely to be extremely predictable. She treated nicely, and then eventually she falls in love and she begins to smile. However, while that is the case, they also had that fucking plot through line, which again, I don't think was articulated too well, but it wasn't bad either, which is why it wasn't a 10 for me as far as plot goes, which is the demon subjugation thing, right? Which, you know, protecting the kingdoms and the other kingdom falling apart because they got rid of their best piece, if you will, their queen on the chessboard. I thought that having all those three work together like that just was brilliant, man. It subverted all of my expectations.
I think that what it really was for me was the fact that the show overall, like I said, I felt like there was never a moment where that nothing felt unestablished. It's like since the beginning they talked about they established details throughout the show. Early on they talked about the previous most powerful saint and all those things and gave us details and all these things. And then they said later on that she was the reincarnation of said saint, or that she had that in her. And then we get the oncoming of said demon who wants her because of that, and he's in love, and it's nothing felt unestablished. And even when it got to the barriers, right? When she first did the barriers, it was her going around the village just doing barriers because that she just wanted to set it up and establish it. But then it even got to the point to where she's doing the barriers. In the next episode, guess who got to do barriers? Mia. But guess who can't do barriers properly? Well. Yeah. Mia. So guess who establishes how to set up those barriers properly for her? Philia. And then after setting up those barriers, Philia's like, look, I know I'm the saint here, but let me teach the other saintly people in this village or in this kingdom how to do some of the things that I do. And they do that. And then she's teaching them the ancient language that not all the saints know and establishing these things. And I'm just like, bro, it was like you said, everything crescendos into this high point of like how the show is going. But it's like, even the progression on how things are being displayed and taught amongst the characters within the show crescendos. Nothing is like untethered. Everything is coming from a focal point or something that happened previously and just building and being built on. So I was like, bro.
And then you got to factor in that incredible Mia subplot, right? Where she was sold off, but she didn't rightly off. Like, and again, this is a situation that I predicted to be wrong. I thought when she was told of what happened to her sister, she was going to believe them. And then it was going to be this whole thing of her finding out over time that her sister wasn't actually that. No, she didn't believe that shit from the first place. And that,
from the jump.
And that just, oh my God, that again subverted my expectations. I'm like, oh shit, I can't expect to know what is going to happen within the show, because it's just that the writing is better than that. I got to give it credit for the writing being better than that.
And then Mia was on demon time from the jump. As soon as she found out, she was like, oh yeah, no, I want your head.
And the way it
on a platter.
And the way she broke it down every episode, how every episode continues to build on her plot, her scheme to then do this and do that and do this and do that. And then meeting his brother.
And to finally get there.
Oh my God, to finally get there was wonderful. It's wonderful. It had everybody in the Discord hype and shit. It was like,
and hear me out. I was a little worried. I thought that dude got away with it.
Me too.
I thought he got away with it.
I can't even pretend like I knew that whole plan.
Just to know that Mia was like, nah, I'm here. I loved it, bro.
It was spectacular, man. It was so well done.
The shake in the brother's hand and his trembling voice and stuff like that. The show just had so many elements that were details, but were pertinent to the development of the show that just pushed things forward so much.
Yeah.
I 8.7. I know some people are gonna be like, that's high. That's high.
Is it though?
But it isn't, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It's not, because like, yeah, I'm telling you, the animation wasn't that great. Sound design was I would say probably above average, but that pacing, plot, and the characters were above average for sure. They were definitely above average.
Just to put it in perspective here, let's take a look at our list here. Two Perfect Saint falls at number 19 in our list, in between Erased at a 8.75 and Aka 13 at 8.7 as well. So it's at number 19 in our list.
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
That's about right. I'm looking at the list here. It's about right. That's incredible. What an incredible list of stuff. Remember, if you are in our community, join the Discord, discord.mikecheckwaifuwaifu.com to be a part of the conversation. And then you can even see there's a channel for our review scale. You can check out the review scale. You can check out the list of everything we reviewed and figure out where stuff lie. The whole list is there. Feel free to check it out. Give us your thoughts over in the Discord. But as always, I'm at Polow Bornfly on all social media.
I'm at King Telliano on all social media.
You follow our social medias subscribe to the YouTube at Mike Check Waifu Waifu. And yeah, follow us on all social platforms at Mike Check Waifu Waifu. And as always, Mike check.
You're now tuned into Mike Check Waifu Waifu. Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you?